Richard, a real estate broker, stumbled upon a long-forgotten property with a hidden secret. What seemed like an ordinary trip quickly turned into a deadly game, as Richard uncovers the truth behind a ferocious creature lurking just beyond sight. And in all this, Madame Reena, the nearby neighbor, a stunningly beautiful landlady, offers him to stay on her 10-acre property while he inspects the abandoned estate. But something is just not right. It's just not right. Madame Reena refuses to believe what Richard saw with his own eyes. Or is she lying? Later, as he made his way back to Madame Reena's house, Richard felt something wasn't quite right. The air grew colder, and the wind picked up. It was dark now. And Richard felt like something was following him. He looked back, but saw nothing, only the empty road behind him. By the time Richard returned to the house, he felt uneasy, his mind racing with questions. He sat down for dinner with Madame Reena and Sebastian. "How is your inspection going, Mr. Richard?" Madame Reena asked, her voice polite, but there was something almost too sweet about it. "Almost done, but there is something about that house. It's not normal." "Well, this is a new environment for you, Mr. Richard." "No, Madame Reena. I wasn't wrong about what I saw that night. I went there again, and there were claw marks high up on the tree, at that exact place. Only something like that could have slashed my tire." "What? If what you say is true, and we've been unaware of such a beast living here, what happened to Mr. Stone could happen to us. We should take precautions. Sebastian, he looks scary, but he doesn't carry a gun or a knife. He isn't prepared to face a creature like this." Madame Reena turned to Sebastian. "Sebastian, you must take heed immediately. Do not leave the house without necessary precautions." "Of course, Madame Reena." "As for my car, Madame Reena, it will be ready tomorrow, and I'll probably be on my way back." "Very well. It was a pleasure having you here, Mr. Richard." That night, Richard went to bed, preparing for his journey back the next day. But as the house grew silent and the lights went out, Richard rose from his bed. He quietly took the bike and rode out toward the stone house, his flashlight illuminating the dark path. Arriving at the backyard, he took out a large cloth and spread it onto the ground. With his flashlight, he began examining the area, marking calculations. noticed the tombstone he had seen before. This is the point. He walked to the tombstone and looked to the west. After about 30 minutes, he reached a spot and began to dig. It should be here. Soon, he struck something hard. Wood. Clearing away the earth, Richard revealed a casket. Eureka! But Richard was not alone. Well done, Richard. If not for you, we could have never found this. Madame Reena's voice echoed in the darkness. Richard's eyes fixed on her as she paced forward holding a lantern. Behind her, Sebastian stood, silent and imposing. And then, from the shadows, Oliver appeared. But something wasn't right about him. His eyes glowed a strange, unsettling hue, his posture more crooked and hunched than normal. Suddenly, Oliver transformed before Richard's eyes, changing into the werewolf Richard had seen that dark night. It was you. Richard was no honest broker, but he was a hard-working one. His line of work wasn't glamorous, but it paid well enough. He inspected old homes and abandoned properties, searching for something others overlooked. He'd dig through title records, tracing the property's history. Any crimes, divorces, family disputes, and especially if there was any wealth tied up to the property. Because you see, Richard wasn't just any broker. He was a cunning thief. When he found a place ripe with opportunity, he'd do some digging into the past. Find out what secrets it hid. He'd discover old relics, valuable antiques, or hidden treasures buried in the walls or under the floorboards. And once he knew where to look, he'd take it. It was during one of these hunts that he stumbled upon Theodore Stone's 6-acre property. Abandoned after Stone's mysterious death, Richard had heard whispers about Theodore Stone, but the man's life wasn't as simple as it seemed. Theodore Stone wasn't your typical businessman. While the townspeople thought he imported and exported products from overseas, the truth was far darker. Stone had connections with the criminal underground, using his shipyard as a front for smuggling goods into the Americas. Over the years, he had grown quite successful accumulating wealth from illegal trades. But when he died, he left behind nothing. No money, no inheritance. Just a lavish lifestyle with no traceable assets. Richard knew better. He was certain Stone had hidden his fortune somewhere. And that property in the mountains, it was the perfect place for such a secret to be buried. As Richard made his way upstate, doubt crept in. What if someone else had already found it? What if he was too late? But when he arrived and saw how isolated and desolate the area was, how the town felt so abandoned, no signs of life, just eerie silence, it gave him confidence. No one had found the treasure. He made up an excuse to conduct an inspection. But the only thing Richard was really doing was searching for the jackpot. Days passed, and he combed every inch of the land. Every nook and cranny of the house, but found nothing. Just as he was about to give up, something caught his eye. Four paintings on the walls inside the house that he simply overlooked the first time around. They weren't just any paintings. When viewed together, they formed a map of the property. The center of it was marked by a tombstone, Theodore Stone's, and at a 45-degree angle to the west, 30 minutes from the stone, there was a mark. Richard followed the map, his heart pounding. He didn't want to get his hopes up. But the map was right. Just as promised, buried in the ground was a casket. Richard stood in the ditch next to the casket, facing Madame Reena, Sebastian, and Oliver, a werewolf. What is going on? Who are you guys? Madame Reena smirked. Reena Lockwood, of course. But you don't want to know who I really am. Madame Reena Lockwood, a woman shrouded in mystery. Who she was or where she came from was not known to anyone. Whispers followed her wherever she went, stories of her being far older than she appeared. Her beauty only matched by the darkness that seemed to surround her. For centuries, she had operated from the shadows, her name spoken only in hushed tones. People feared her, not only for her influence, but for something far deeper, an unspoken power that she wielded with careful precision. No one ever dared to ask too many questions, for the answers would cost more than they could afford to know. Madame Reena Lockwood had made a deal with Theodore Stone years ago. She needed to smuggle something precious into the country, and Stone was the only one who could get it past the authorities. You see, Mr. Stone, I need to bring something into the country, something valuable. Can I trust you to do this without anyone finding out? And of course, for a price. How much are we talking? For that, I can get anything. But I have a condition. You can't open it, and you can't know what is inside. No problem. Anything for you, Madam Reena? Stone had agreed, but he had no good intentions. His curiosity got the better of him. When the box finally arrived from the Spain harbor, his hands itched to know what lay inside. Despite the promise he had made, Stone opened it. Inside, he found a casket, a strange, ominous thing. What is this? Stone was no fool. He realized that whoever owned this box was not someone to be trifled with, but he didn't care. He hid the casket and began to blackmail Madame Reena. I know who you are. I know what you do. And I know about Sebastian and your nephew, or rather, what they are. How much do you want? Not so simple. I want something. Unless they do my bidding, you'll never get what you came for. And so, Sebastian and Oliver were forced into service, smuggling goods for Stone to keep the casket safe. But they hated it. What are we doing? These petty crimes? We've become slaves to this man. We don't have a choice. He has the chest. Months passed, years, and no matter how much Madame Reena sacrificed, Stone's demands never stopped. The more she gave, the more he took. But one night, enough was enough. Reena had finally snapped. Where did you put the casket? I told you, unless you do my bidding, you'll never get it. Enough. I've given you a fortune. Sebastian and my nephew have been slaving for you. This ends now. If you kill me, you'll never get it. Fine. Then we'll find it ourselves. But that was just the beginning. For the next 15 years, they searched the property, scoring every corner, but to no avail. And it wasn't until Richard came along, by sheer chance, but they finally found what they had been searching for. Richard felt a cold chill standing beside the casket. Madame Reena, Sebastian, and Oliver closed in on him, their eyes sharp, calculating. I don't know how to thank you enough, Richard, but it's so unfortunate. We can't spare you now that you know our secret. Richard's hand tightened around his gun. He immediately pulled it out and pointed it at Madame Reena. He had no intention of getting involved in whatever dark magic they were into. "What do you want from me?" "I won't tell anyone. Take it. I don't care anymore." But Madame Reena only laughed. "Oh, Richard, do you really think a gun will stop us? It won't help." Richard's heart hammered in his chest, a bead of sweat trickling down his forehead. He had no idea how he had ended up in this situation. How could he escape this? Just then, they heard another voice from the shadows. "If Richard can't stop you, I can."
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.